only wants you to make good beer and have fun hanging out with your friends. Here's Dono. Today on the program, I am making a first for myself. I'm making an all-grain cream ale. It utilizes, wait for it, flaked corn and flaked rice. So, Kurt Stock is an award-winning homebrewer, mead maker, and beer. He's won at the national level. He's in St. Paul. He's generous with sharing information. He's in like some chop and brew videos, probably Brewing TV. That might be more accurate. And after I made that Michael Dawson recipe, the pre-pro amber lager with corn, and I liked it, I thought, why don't I pursue that ingredient further? And this one came to mind. I knew it used corn, and I realized it also uses flaked rice. So that is boiling. We'll go take a look at that. The yeast I'm going to use is the Flagship, which is said to be the Chico American Ale type strain. But as always, thank you to Imperial for hooking me up with the yeast via the Chop and Brew channel. Shout out here to our good buddy Abstract Artemis. If you were at HomebrewCon in Minneapolis a couple years ago, you might have seen him rock the house. He has a radio show. I believe if you go to abstractartemis.com and look for Radio Artemis, you can find out the radio show. It's broadcast Tuesdays on the internet from 7 to 10 Central Time, but also then you could go listen to it after. I got the... Anyways, that's what we're rocking right now. Killing Yourself to Live, Spiritual Front, Lofty Vaseline, Ravagers. A lot of good tunes, such as stuff like Queens of the Stone Age, Primus, heavy on the hard rock, but also he plays a lot of Jimmy Reed. He's been playing some King's X. It's pretty cool. If you have any interest in that, he's a cool dude. Check it out. And my garden has been expanded. You might remember I did a video on gardening at the old house. This spot right here was flowers and plants from the previous owner, and I took those out this year and put in my vegetables. I finally have my beans coming up and my peas. I think this is the second planting because for whatever reason the squirrels like to mess with this, so I put up this other little fence as sort of a deterrent. And then I dug up this patch. I dug up the sod and planted a bunch of stuff from seed, and it's just kind of starting to come up. So I'm hoping to get some stuff out of that. Nothing necessarily for the brewing, but just, stuff that I like to eat and mess with. So here's the boil. I have to check on the timing. The rest of the recipe was 8 pounds of pills, and then those 3 pounds of adjuncts. So 11 pounds of grain, should be around 1050. 0.75 ounce Hallertau Hersbrucker if you can get it at 60. 0.25 ounce or 7 grams at 5 minutes. I think I did not get Hallertau Hersbrucker. I got German Hallertau because they didn't have the other one, but it's about the same difference. So that's about it. I guess I'll maybe take a wrap-up video, but then I'm looking forward to seeing how this comes out. I expect it to hopefully be a fast turnaround. I'm going to experiment with not making a yeast starter, because you're not supposed to need to with this much yeast and with this kind of medium-low gravity. And I might experiment with not doing extra pure O2, so I pour it in there so it gets that kind of aeration. Just kind of see if I get, similar good result, and if that's like a step that can maybe be eliminated from time to time. But otherwise, it's probably getting close to time to get the wort chiller in there and keep on chugging. Here we are. It is going to be about 1050, maybe a little over, which is about what I would get for 11 pounds of grain. Here is the yeast. I'm going to dump that in, and I got 5 gallons. So everything is starting off well, as long as I don't mess this part up. It smells like yeast. So I pour it through a strainer into this fermenter, and then normally I would make I use pure oxygen, and also normally I would already have a yeast starter, which you've seen if you've watched any of these videos. So just gonna be a little experiment. I'm not really trying to cut corners or anything, but you know, if you can save yourself a little time or a little money, if you don't have to make a yeast starter and use the DME, then you know, there may be times where that is appropriate. If you want, we'll just see. I'm not too worried about it. I'm pretty sure that it should at a minimum have enough yeast, and then you know, hopefully the aeration is sufficient too. I'm gonna seal it up and try to keep it as cool as I can. My basement is actually like 70 Fahrenheit, which is a little warm, so I put some ice jugs in the freezer, so I might have to do the thing where you stick a couple ice jugs under there and swap them out, and I'll just keep an eye on the temperature. So here we are the next morning, maybe about 20 hours or something after pitching, and as you can see, it definitely is going. And in fact, it was going, fermenting yesterday. It doesn't have, like, this thing's not ripping yet, but it's sometimes the whole thing isn't too tight. I can try to tighten it up. I'm not really worried about the airlock activity because clearly it's fermenting. The temperature is good. I'm just gonna have to keep an eye on it and see if I can keep it below 70 would be nice.
Good evening.
Well, here we are with this cream ale. Cheers. Michael Dawson is joining me. He's a, you know him, you love him. We got him out under the rock. And
it's a pretty nice rock.
Here he is.
But this is a pretty nice cream ale.
Yeah. So that's. I also wanted to taste it with you because I made the recipe from the Matchmaker book that included some corn, and I liked it, and I was kind of surprised.
That's amazing.
I think it was only a pound too. It wasn't a lot, but I thought I could tell the difference, and I believe. I didn't go back and check, but I believe even in the video that we're tasting that beer, I said, oh, I think I might want to use corn again. I wonder what else uses corn. And either I thought of cream ale or you did, or I came to that after the fact. But here we are. This beer is went down to 1.006 with the Imperial Flagship yeast pouch, pitched straight in, no extra starter. Just gonna see if, you know, like it was also, I've done it a couple times recently, and it's sort of interesting to see, like, I almost always make a starter, especially if it's, you know, a little bigger, or for sure like a lager or something, but I thought, what if I don't have to? What if I don't have to, and I can get the same result, and I don't have to do that extra step?
Sounds pretty nice.
It's nice, right, to not have to do one extra thing. This beer, I did add gelatin. It did get very clear. You know, maybe I'll do this. I'll edit it out until I get... Oh, look. There you can see. Dawson's waving. Yeah. So it got nice and clear. Also, it's lighter in color than probably any other beer I have ever made, I guess. I mean, with 30% adjuncts, 2 pounds of corn, 1 pound of rice. I don't think I've used 30% adjuncts. I'm positive I haven't in 20 years of making these beers.
You said that you had never brewed a cream ale before either. That stood out to me from our earlier discussion, which I guess isn't too surprising these days. But when we started, I feel like cream ale was kind of like a entry-level craft beer. Oh. Right? It was pretty ubiquitous 20, 30 years ago.
I might have once upon a time made an extract one, but it wasn't very good, and I think it was actually like somebody just had an old kit that they'd been sitting around, and they're like, do you want to make this? And I'm like, okay. And he's like, it's kind of old. I'm like, oh, okay. And this was, you know, my second, third year brewing. But I've never made intentional all-grain cream ale.
Until
now. And I love the light lagers, and I make a number of those every winter season. And this is, I suppose, like a summer version of a light beer. I also make a potter's beer sometimes. just to fill that niche of, you know, people would say a lawnmower beer, if you will. Do you taste corn in this beer? Is that a flavor that you think you get, or is it just part of the overall mix?
I think I can pick up a little bit of it. It's just kind of this light, grainy sweetness.
Because what I think is interesting is I swear I can taste it in the pre-pro triple grain amber lager, but I almost wonder if that's because it was, I don't know. Why would that make any sense? Because it was, there's richer, bolder flavors in that beer, and then you have this little corn flavor in there, and I don't know if that, you would think you would not taste it as much as in a beer that's made with 20% corn, but then I also wondered about the rice. If the rice thins out the corn somehow, or the overall flavor somehow.
I mean, whether it's corn or rice, you're diluting a lot the flavor and the color and the other intensity with just that very kind of mild flavored, bland, unmalted grain.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know what it was. I thought that I could taste the corn in the other one that was, you know, a different beer. But I'm very happy with this. I mean, I could easily see adding this into the summer mix. I kind of have a wit beer and a Hefeweizen and, you know, different ones that I kind of rotate through to fill this need for that kind of beer.
Super crushable.
Yeah. Kurt Stock, his recipe. Give him a shout out. I thought about the idea of trying to get him on this beer, but I think he lives elsewhere now. Like
He moved farther
North
away.
Metro, yeah. He used to live like a mile from here. But, yeah, so comment away if you've used these adjuncts, I mean, I don't really, other than Kurt, I don't really know people that go around talking about the pride of making a cream ale or the habit of doing it. You said that you thought that when people were getting into brewing ale, something that maybe people were doing more, but I mean, is that...
I think that was more of like a comment on craft beer in the 90s and early 2000s, right?
Commercial
breweries would have like a cream
maybe
ale or a blonde ale.
Maybe
It's just something to appeal to the macro drinker.
Yeah, that
It's
could
kind
be.
of fallen out of favor a little bit.
Well, now we're not afraid to just say we like lagers again. You know, you walk into almost any brewery, they'll have a Pilsner on and maybe a Helles. So maybe that's knocked some of these cream ale spots off.
That could be.
Can you still get the Jenny cream ale somewhere out east?
Out east, yeah.
I know that's a classic
Mhm.
American beer.
That's kind of one of the paragons
Yeah.
of the style.
Well,
Yeah.
there you have it, kids. We're on the porch. You know, it's been super, super hot here recently, and maybe where you are, but then today it's a little bit cooler.
Mm-hmm.
It's a sudden change, and we've got all these clothes on now. So,
Yeah,
and
before we were nude. It was terrible.
right? Uh-huh.
Can't video that.
Well, and the thing about not being outside right now, we can be outside, but it's kind of windy. I don't have like microphones, you know, clip-ons.
That'd be too corny.
And with that reference to the adjunct ingredient, we can wrap it up. So yeah, thanks for coming over. We'll get to the next beers off camera, and thanks for watching. Catch you later. I know politics bore you like an idiot.